Before we talk about investing, markets, or early retirement, I want to ask you one single question. If your income stopped for 6 months, would your life still function normally? Not would you survive, but would you still be calm? If your answer is, I'm not sure, then your problem is not the market. It's how your life is structured. Before we go any further, I want to speak directly to a very specific group of people. If you have a decent income, high fixed expenses, and very little cash, then what I'm about to say is not philosophy. It's a warning. A lot of people think they're safe simply because they've never lost their job. That's how people always think right before they're forced to act. I've seen this pattern repeat for decades, not with poor people, but with people who own a home, drive a car, earn good money, yet have no ability to wait. They don't collapse. They simply accept jobs they hate, sell assets at the wrong time, and call it reality. That is not poverty of money. That is poverty of choice. And poverty of choice is the most dangerous kind. Let me be direct. You do not need a high income to live well, but you do need a rational structure. And here's what modern society quietly hides. Income does not create safety. Structure creates safety. Many people today are not poor in dollars. They are poor because their lives only work when money flows continuously. When money stops, control disappears, and loss of control leads to mistakes. According to Federal Reserve and BLS data from 2024-2025, nearly 50% of Americans cannot handle a $1,000 emergency. Almost 60% live paycheck to paycheck. Many of them earn over $100,000 a year, own homes, drive nice cars, look successful, yet they have no real freedom because they've built lives that depend on one condition. Income must never stop. That isn't wealth. That's fragility disguised as success. What poverty really is. Poverty is not a number on a paycheck. Poverty is when a delayed paycheck causes panic, an unexpected bill creates debt, a market downturn steals your sleep. By that definition, many successful people are still poor, and many people living simply are not. The difference comes down to burn rate. Burn rate is not complicated. It's this question: how much money do I need each month to avoid panic? Not to feel happy, not to feel rich, but to keep your mind clear under pressure. If you cannot answer this immediately, you are not controlling your money. Your money is controlling you. Why society doesn't want you to understand this? Because someone who understands burn rate doesn't spend impulsively, isn't easily manipulated, doesn't constantly upgrade their life. Content people don't generate profit. Dissatisfied people do. So you're told. You deserve it. You're not told. You're building a life with no exit. Most people don't become poor because of one bad decision. They become poor because of many perfectly reasonable decisions. A few extra subscriptions, a nicer car because our rates are low, higher rent because you deserve better. Each decision is small. Together, they create a life that can't be cut quickly, can't wait patiently, can't tolerate mistakes. I would call this poor design. In investing, we talk about margin of safety, but life needs it even more than portfolios do. Ask yourself honestly, if your income stopped tomorrow, how long could you remain calm? Less than 1 month. Fragile. 3 months. Vulnerable. 12 months. Stable. 24 months or more. Powerful. Margin of safety is not built during crisis. It must be built before crisis arrives. And it almost always starts with reducing dependence, not increasing income. This is the sentence many people hate. If you can't manage a little money, you won't manage a lot of money. Money does not fix habits. Money amplifies habits. That's why lottery winners go broke. All athletes lose fortunes. High earners remain anxious. The problem isn't money, it's structure. 2026 is not a year for speed. It's a year for resilience. Employment instability. Sticky living costs. Mistakes that take years to undo. In this environment, high burn rate equals high risk. Low burn rate equals choice. Low burn rate is not virtue. It is a survival tool. I break it down simply. Burn rate more than 70%. You get forced. Burn rate from 40 to 60%. You survive. Burn rate less than 40%. You choose. Freedom is not quitting work. Freedom is not being forced. Lowering burn rate is not suffering. This is where many people lie to themselves. Lower burn rate does not mean misery. Eliminating joy. It means removing what doesn't improve your life. Keeping what truly does. 3 unconscious subscriptions don't create happiness. 1 intentional choice does. Most people think, I'll earn more, then I'll be fine. People who understand the game think, I'll reduce dependence first, then let money do the rest. Every dollar you don't need to spend or doesn't need to be earned, doesn't need to be taxed, doesn't carry risk. And once you truly understand that, you realize the problem is not how much you make. The problem is where each dollar is forced to live. So before we talk about investing, returns, or markets, let me show you the simplest structure I've used for decades. Just 3 accounts. Account number 1, survival. This money has one job, to make sure you never panic. Cash or ultra-safe deposits. 12 to 24 months of living expenses. 0 return required. This account doesn't make you rich. It makes you unstoppable. Account number 2, flex. This is where optionality lives. Short-term deposits. Bonds, gold. Defensive ETFs. This account protects your low burn rate. Low burn rate equals optionality. Account number 3, growth. Only money you can watch fall 50% without losing sleep belongs here. Stocks. Businesses. Long-term bets. If you panic when it drops, it was never investment capital. Now you see why reducing dependence comes first. Because once your burn rate is low, money doesn't control you anymore. You control time, and time is where compounding actually happens. Most people spend their lives trying to earn their way to safety. A few understand something far more important. Safety doesn't come from more income. It comes from less dependence. When your burn rate is low, you don't need to chase returns. You don't need to predict markets. You don't need to panic when things break, because every dollar you don't need is a dollar that cannot hurt you. High burn rate equals high risk. Low burn rate equals optionality. And optionality is how you stay in the game long enough for compounding to finally do its job. That's not how most people play, but it's how the game is actually won.